baye Amita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kwibukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Abazunga batita katongi Nakula kwibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Neseko siove pamezo Yangwa maume maya Kiyaba maume Kiyaba maume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Leti kume mopu la dolole avale Lilo mwingi
Iseko wengi mwakwete Iseso wengi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatuleli laki Ukula befyo wati dobu wingi Divise mwa wapangini obu wingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiade Chagwa katuse Amita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kwibukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Abazunga batita katongi Nakula kwibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Neseko siove pamezo Yangwa maume maya Kiyaba maume Kiyaba maume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Leti kume mopu la dolole avale Lilo mwingi
Iseko wengi mwakwete Iseso wengi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatuleli laki bwingi ukuchinja lusako kumoneko busaka mama kutituwala basiyani chakwa katusa.
Good morning, Tuesday, the 15th, July 2026. Today we're going to have a short broadcast just for about an hour and maybe another 30 minutes for your call. Tomorrow we'll be hosting Citizen Citizen First leader, Honorable Harry Calabar. Tune in, tell your colleagues, we'll do a poster which you can share. We'll be hosting Citizen First, Honorable Harry Calabar. Today, we're discussing the fight against corruption. I think it is a total sham. The president is not committed to fighting corruption. He's not committed at all. If he was, we'll see, other than his rhetoric, we'll see action. Remember, let's take the example of the current health crisis. The U.S. ambassador made it very, very clear that he had tried for 3 years to get breakthrough, to make the commitments that were being made by officials that they acted upon. For 3.5 years, nothing was done. At ZAMSA, at Ministry of Health, and the theft of medicine continued. The theft of contributions of resources to Ministry of Health was being plundered without letting and without stopping. We've seen arrests. The arrests just involve a pharmacist, a nurse, but not the people stealing the millions of dollars from the Ministry of Health. I think that's the purpose of our discussion today. The fight against corruption. It is a sham. I will go in detail quickly and then invite you to speak to this. The cooperating partners, especially regarding Ministry of Health and Health Fund, demanded for a special audit. This audit was done. When a preliminary audit report was done and it was given to the president in December, you remember what he said? He said, there'll be no sacred cows. I'll ensure that I crack the whip. Everyone involved will be dealt with. Well, it did do nothing. When the report again came up in May, when it was submitted to the president that the report was complete, nothing has been done. All we hear is Jack Mwimbu telling us that the matter has been submitted to the law enforcement agencies. No one has been fired. No one has been held culpable. The only time the president moved was the scandal of the 63 trucks that had carried medicine that was bought from Egypt. You remember, even that was a scandal. The procurement itself, the Ministry of Health signed a contract with an Egyptian procurement agency to buy medicine worth $75 million, $70 million, if I remember. And they went and paid an initial $25 million. And remember, they were paying to an agency. And this agency was buying medicine from Egypt, from India, from wherever they could source it. The transaction was very corrupt. It was touted as a government-to-government purchase, but it was not. It was not a government-to-government agency. They made ZAMSA, buy this medicine at $25 million, pay $25 million to an agency in Egypt that then would procure the medicine from Egypt, India, and wherever they could source it. Corruption. The Egyptians got that money, acted, and sent the 63 trucks. The 63 trucks were marooned in Beira, Mozambique, from November, December, January. Only after the containers attracted millions of demurrage charges did government act. They hired a contractor, a transporter, who they didn't even bother to pay. The transporter moved the containers from Beira, brought them to Lusaka. There was no one to receive the medicine. There was no one to pay for the medicines, for the trucks and transport. And ZAMSA said they didn't even have adequate space to store the entire medicine. So the trucks moved to a private warehouse where they were packed for another 6-7 months. Until Utulimbusha Twasa Fumiama pictures and they gave us. And I think the owner of the premises had, whatever he had charged them, the demurrage charges had come to something like 10 million kwacha. And Ministry of Health was not paying. Probably that was the motivation why the leakage even occurred. And when we showed the truck stranded for 7 months, and this was at the height of critical shortage of medicine, critical shortage of medical suppliers, laboratories didn't have usables and all these things they require. The medical supplies were not available. Medicine itself was at stock levels of around 40%. The recommended supplies for critical medicines and critical supplies at 75%. That's what the World Health Organization proposes. I mean, that's a minimum standard and threshold. Our medicines were at 42%, yet you had medicine in containers worth $25 million stuck for almost 9 months. Even when that matter blew, the minister attempted to blame ZAMSA and ZAMSA management, but it was up to the minister and his colleague, the PS, to first pay for the demurrage charges, pay for transport of that medicine. It was up to Ministry of Health. Madam Sylvia Masebo at the time put up a charade, took reporters to ZAMSA, and she couldn't hide the scandal. The scandal was on her laps. We have confirmation from the SEC that they've been investigating 5 ministers, 5 cabinet ministers, 4 cabinet ministers and 1 provincial minister. The president has not moved to suspend these 5 ministers. Among them is Honorable Sylvia Masebo. She has not moved to fire her. All the president did was to transfer from Ministry of Health to Ministry of Lands. And the 5 ministers that are under investigations have never been suspended. This was official confirmation from Ministry of Health. We started late. I'm sorry, we started around 20:30, but we are here and I'll be inviting cause let's discuss the health crisis and the fight against corruption. It is clearly a sham, looking at the looting of the treasury going on, looking at the high-level, sophisticated corruption fight that are taking place, whether it has something to do with Mopani, whether it's KCM, whether it's First Quantum, whether it's a theft of medicine and theft of money from... And this has come to light for one simple reason. The United States spends $500-600 million a year to our health sector prior to 2024. And this is the money that was being looted year in, year out. And we don't know about the other funds and cooperating partners from EU and others, but the US have been obliged to make so much noise because the amount of money they give our country, up to $500 million a year. This is substantial amount of money from the US taxpayers. And for that money to be regularly looted, this was their concern. And so they forced an audit on government. And they demanded that the audit should be done by an independent organization because they feared that the Auditor General is under the hand. Remember, we don't even have an Auditor General. There is someone masquerading there. The law says any Auditor General should be below 60, above 45 and below 60. There is an old man there, Mr. Ron Mwambwa, Dr. Ron Mwambwa, is not qualified to be there according to the Republican Constitution. He shouldn't spend a day anymore. The law was very categorical. It would not employ an Auditor General that's below the age of 45. No matter how qualified, how many SEC, even if you are a fellow, even if you are accredited to international institutions, our constitution is very clear. If you are below the age of 45, you can't be our Auditor General. Further, it puts a cap. If you are above 40, if you are above 60, you can't be an Auditor General because they want the most robust, the most experienced persons to occupy that position. So you have Dr. Ronnie Mwambwa, a pensioner, totally ill-qualified for that job, sitting in the job for the last 3 years. Parliament rejected his nomination because he's above age, as I've just stated. But President Hakainde Hichilema loves to keep very weak people in key institutions like that, compromised people in key institutions like that. You remember that one time the DEC had our dear sister Mary Chirwa, whose sex videos leaked. In normal democracy should not even have an office. He kept her there because he loves to have very weak people in institutions, because then they can't check him. They can't check his administration, or they will do him a favor. So he has kept Ron Mwambwa at the Auditor General because Ronnie Mwamba is not qualified to hold that position. Therefore, Ronnie Mwamba will give you audit reports that are censored, that have no teeth, that are toothless. If President Hakainde Hichilema was serious about the fight against corruption, he will have appointed an effective auditor general. He has not. For